Synthi Biscuit.
Here's some tips for the Synthi Biscuit from Electric Tone. The Synthi Biscuit is a 16 HP multi-function module designed for the Eurorack modular system. The module has 3 identical sections, each offering 16 useful algorithms. You can quickly skip to the next algorithm by pushing down the button of the desired section. Here's a couple of utility functions available within the unit. Resettable LFOs, modulations, sound source, envelope generator, step sequencer, clock source, gate pattern generator, sample and hold, random CV sequencer, burst generator, clock divider, and more. The digit display indicates the actual algorithm for each sections. Each sections are equipped with 2 parameter knobs to let you manipulate and control the settings of the algorithm. Each section got a jack input for external control. The main use of this input depends on the chosen algorithm. The signal output goes from -5 volt to 5 volt. Some algorithms can be set to unipolar signal. An alternative mode can be accessed by holding down the algorithm button for 3 seconds. The decimal point of the display will light up to indicate that one of the sections is in alternative mode. To exit the alternative mode, simply hold down the button again. The module consumes 30 mA on the +12 volt and 5 mA on the -12 volt rail. The unit may have a simplified aesthetic, but its useful and easy learning functions will run in each of your patch. Okay, now, let's demonstrate what this unit can do.
Resettable LFOs.
The Synthi Biscuit is equipped with 6 basic waveforms, useful as LFO modulation or even sound source. We'll connect the signal output to the varispeed input of the morphogene. The first knob will set the frequency, and the second knob will adjust the wave shape. Here's a particular interesting feature of the Synthi Biscuit's LFOs. When you turn the frequency knob all the way, the output freezes or stays at a fixed voltage. It could be interesting to control 3 parameters of your patch and use the unit as a performance module. And try different waveform shapes too. The basic shapes goes from sine wave to triangle, sawtooth up, sawtooth down, square, and exponential LFO. All shapes can be resetted when a gate is received at its input. Interesting if you need to synchronize your LFO and modulations. Note that every Synthi Biscuit's waveforms are bipolar signal and goes from -5 volt to +5 volt, but the alternative mode of those algorithms offsets the output to positive signal from 0 to +5 volt. Just hold down the button for some seconds to switch between modes. Remember, the digit dot indicates which mode is active. Those LFOs can run at audio rate, useful for sound source, like percussion or droning. Unfortunately, it won't track 1 volt per octave, but it's great to have more sound source to your arsenal. At audio rate, the oscilloscope will give us a better preview of all the wave shapes. Okay, now, let me tell you a little secret. If you use a stackable cable to use the output signal to reset its input, you can access different new waveforms and also augment its frequency. See the difference when the cable is removed. It almost doubled the speed when the cable is inserted. Try to manipulate the parameters and change between shapes to reach new waveforms. Let's use the Optimix to have some percussive sounds. You can also combine two resettable LFOs. Those waveform algorithms are pretty interesting for sure, but the unit can do a lot more. Let's see what goes next.
Sample and hold.
Sample and hold. Well, looks like the algorithm of the beast. This algorithm gives you access to random voltages. Each time a gate is received at the input, a new voltage will be sampled. The sample is taken from an internal waveform. To show you exactly the source sampled, we will use a fast oscillator to trigger the input, and use the output of the biscuit as audio rate. We can see a perfect sine wave. But the first parameter knob will progressively mix the signal with a random generator, giving less predictable voltages. The second knob will set the resolution of the signal. Note that the alternative mode of this algorithm will switch between unipolar and bipolar signal. Now let's send the output of the beast to the 1 volt per octave of the Hertz Donut Mark II. A good way to make quick random sequences. You may also want to pass the output signal to a quantizer or a scale first. Why don't we use all three sections as sample and hold? The DC-1 drum computer will trigger the algorithms. Send the signal to any desired parameter. This way, you'll avoid repetitive loops.
Fluctuating voltage.
In this algorithm, a random modulation is created by unpredictable voltage that goes up and down in straight line. The first knob sets the frequency, and the second knob sets the staircase resolution of the signal. The oscilloscope shows us the waveform because we use the output for audio signal. The output signal could be a good noise source too. send the signal to the 1 volt per octave input of an oscillator. The alternative mode of this algorithm will switch from bipolar signal to unipolar. Oh, now we can hear clearly this staircase-like fluctuating voltage resolution. It's a simple function, but it is very useful to work with unpredictable voltage.
Two-step sequencer.
The middle section will be set to the two-step sequencer algorithm. The input jack determines which value parameter is at the output. We will use the upper section to trigger this input with some resettable LFO's algorithm we saw earlier. The alternative mode of this algorithm will switch from bipolar signal to unipolar. Each parameter knob determines the value for each step. Again, the signal output is going to the 1 volt per octave of an oscillator, but we could have controlled any other parameter with this signal. An interesting way to use this function is to use it as a flip-flop or a toggle gate. Send this signal to a VCA to have a direct control of the amplitude. This could act as a meter of some sort. Just a simple nice tip you probably already knew.
Random sequencer.
The upper section algorithm is random sequencer, and it is clocked by the middle section's LFO. The output is going to the pitch input of the bisimilositer. It is working just like a regular sequencer. Each clock is moving forward and output new voltage. The first knob determines the length of the sequence with a maximum of 16 steps, while the second knob sets the number of repetition needed before new voltage values are assigned. When the second knob is completely open, the receding is stopped and the sequence will loop endlessly. The length of the sequence can still be adjusted with the first knob. When you need to change the sequence, just manipulate the second knob until it suits your expectations. The random sequencer algorithm is simple and easy to use. It can be a good idea to let the voltage through a scale or a quantizer first. It's up to you. The alternative mode of this algorithm will read the sequence randomly instead of moving forward. The other parameters works the same, only the reading is affected. If we increase the tempo fast enough, we can clearly hear there is no pattern when in alternative mode. Well, it's a bit chaotic, but keep calm. It's only for the demonstration.
Pattern generator.
Now, the lower section's LFO sets the tempo of the middle section. The middle section is set with the pattern generator algorithm, and each clock generated is sent to the upper section, which is in random sequencer, and the CV value is going to the pitch input of the bisimilositer. It is. And of course the middle section also triggers the bisimilus. The pattern generator algorithm works similarly to the random sequencer, however it outputs gate pattern instead of CV values. The first knob set the number of beats before going back to the first one. And just like the random sequencer, the second knob sets the random reseating and stops the pattern when fully opened. Here we have a good example that the Synthi Biscuit can be an important tool in your music creation. Setting tempo, adjusting gate patterns and CV sequencer. Everything simple and efficient.
Envelope generator.
Algorithm B and C of the Synthi Biscuit are designed for envelope generator. Algorithm B is for attack decay envelopes, and algorithm C is for attack hold decay envelopes. Here, we're gonna have the upper section triggering the algorithm B of the middle section. The envelope's output will go to the IntelliGel Micro VCA CV input, and a low-pass white noise from Mr. Blue is going to the VCA input. The parameters for the envelope algorithms are quite simple and are both identical. Both algorithms' alternative modes gives you access to a logarithmic curve. The second knob adjusts the decay time, and the first knob sets the attack phase. Let's manipulate the algorithm C. Well, you see, while the algorithm B will not be affected by the gate length at its input, the algorithm C will be adjusting the shape of the upper section's LFO to increase the holding time of the envelope. The decay will only start when no more voltage is detected at the input. Now let's use the upper section's LFO to clock the envelope at audio rate. At this speed, we will be able to see the envelope's shape properly. Adjust your envelope with the attack and decay parameters. And don't forget to test between exponential and logarithmic curves. We can clearly see the difference when switching the alternative mode. It's pretty handy to have 3 utility envelopes packed into one unit.
Disruptive clock.
The algorithm D, disruptive clock, is an interesting function. I see this algorithm like an arrhythmia disorder, but controlled by CV input. The lower section is on the attack decay algorithm, and will trigger some random audio from the morphogene. The first disruptive parameter will set the tempo. The second parameter will set the disruptive amount sent upon receiving a gate. I see this as an adrenaline shot right to the heart. Like when a drunk person is handling a glass of water very close to your modular case while jumping on a pogo stick. I inserted a light bulb jack on the algorithm's input, so we can see clearly when a gate is received. The alternative mode adds even more disruption. Not only the speed will be more affected, but gate outputs might also be cancelled. You could use this algorithm as a main clock source just like a basic tempo feature. But combining this one with any other clock divider or multiplier modules can be very interesting. The disruptive clock is an intriguing weird algorithm, but you'll be more than surprised how nice and unpredictable your patch will be. The burst gate algorithm generates a series of gate when a gate is received at its input. The upper section will set the main tempo with an LFO. Each clock, a bass drum from the SD1 simple drum will be kicked, and the same clock will trigger the middle section's pattern generator. The gate pattern will trigger the lower section's burst gate algorithm, and the burst will be sent to the symbol of the SD1 simple drum. The first knob will set the time between each gates, and the second knob will adjust the number of gates that will be bursted. Adjust these parameters carefully until it suits your needs. This algorithm is exactly like having the first version of the Stilson hammer, but with only the main gate output. It's another nice feature included into the Synthi Biscuit. The alternative mode of this algorithm will distribute the gates randomly, once triggered. Yeah, I know, this biscuit looks delicious and full of surprises. Let's check out its last algorithm.
Probability gate.
Here, we have the upper section in a simple disruptive clock function acting as the main tempo, and the middle section is in probability gate function. To make it simple, this algorithm will, maybe, reproduce the incoming gate depending of the probability factors. So, the gates reproduced will never be offset, but may be forgotten. The first knob sets the probability factor, while the second one sets the clock division. Great if you need some clock divider function, or just to add more randomness into your patch. The alternative mode of this algorithm will act the same, but will be varying the gate length. Here's another cool trick. You can change the Synthi Biscuit into some kind of chord machine. Send a square wave from an oscillator to all three inputs of the biscuit. Then send all the outputs of the Synthi, and also the original pulse signal to a mixer. Adjust the level and the division of each algorithms. When changing the pitch of the source, you'll obtain some kind of chords, since all the algorithms will follow the original signal. Switching to alternative mode will change the tone a bit, since the gate length will vary. Let's send a quick sequence from the Stilson Hammer Mark II. The Synthi Biscuit can have its firmware updated easily with your home computer. All the information needed is available on electrictonemusic.com. Click on the Synthi Biscuit's homepage. Then click on the Synthi Biscuit Downloads page. There, you'll find all the information for your unit, including the original instruction manual. Download the Synthi Biscuit's firmware and put it somewhere you'll have quick access. Then click on the Synthi Update Firmware Manuals page. You should be able to open this PDF file and see its content. To upload new firmware into the module, a compatible Atmel adapter was included with your unit. You'll need to install the proper drivers if you want the adapter to be detected by your computer. And it should be available through the first link of the update manual. Just follow the procedure and it should be very simple. Then go back to the update manual and get the uploader software. Follow the simple instructions included with those files, and then get back to this firmware update manual and follow each step carefully. Unplug your module from its case before connecting to the upload adapter. All this update should be very simple. Tell yourself one thing: if I was able to do it, you can too. Believe in yourself, you can do it, 'cause you're strong. The Synthi Biscuit is an awesome module that gives you a lot. LFO, sound source, modulations, envelope generator, clock source, step sequencer, random voltage, clock divider, sample and hold, gate generator. With all its functions, features, and algorithms to combine, you're pretty sure to use it constantly in every patch you'll make. And among that, its purified interface and easy learning parameters will help you exploit the maximum out of it. I hope this tutorial was helpful and help you swim through all those algorithms and functions. For more information, don't forget to visit electrictonemusic.com.